Yo, yo, what up? It's your girl Joy, the Hip Hop Power Font, and welcome to The Lighthouse, episode 015. Okay, and today we will be discussing hip hop as a whole, the full culture. Okay, this will be part two. Okay, I will link part one at the end of this video. It doesn't matter the order that you watch them in, it's totally fine. It's two completely different readings or interpretations. Okay, and that always goes for any chart, whether it's your birth chart, an event chart, or what have you. The interpretation can be a multitude of breakdowns, but also the interpretation is only as good as the person doing the interpretation. And I ain't saying I'm the best, but I do what I can. Okay, so first we are going to start with the elements of hip hop, and we are going to connect them to the elements, earth, air, fire, water, right? And then we're going to go into what each element means, okay? And then we're going to go into the modes real quick. We're going to talk about cardinal, fixed, immutable, and then we're going to get into the placements, okay? All right, now let's do it. So as we are breaking down or connecting the elements to each other, the elements, earth, air, fire, water, I don't even know what to call them, but we're going to also link the hip hop elements to the world elements, or as what I'll call them, but we're also going to bring in the four angles of the chart. Okay, so let's see. First, we're going to start with earth. Okay, and obviously the four elements: breaking, MC, graffiti, and DJ, right? So breaking will obviously be what? Earth, okay? Because you're physically touching the ground, okay? Be it with your hands, your feet, your legs, your body, your head, okay? It's all about getting down, okay? Getting down on that flow, on that cardboard, and doing what you got to do, okay? So breaking, for the purposes of this episode, okay, we are going to liken that to the descendant, okay? And here is the chart. Okay, this is the same chart. The chart don't change. Okay, the chart don't change. Okay, so breaking, we're going to liken to the descendant, which is what? In Virgo, the start of the seventh house. Okay, the earth element is how we physically experience the world. That's what it represents. The things that you touch. Okay, things that you physically experience, things that are touching you, things that you touch. Okay, so it's not just because it's in an earth sign, okay? But Virgo is about doing something perfectly, okay? It is about also how you are. It is a time to humble you as well, because this is the time in your life when you're like, you finished college or whatever, so now you're in the rat race. You're actually like working a job, you're employed, and you're just trying to be the best well-adjusted adult that you can be. We're all winging it, okay? So breaking will humble you. People think, oh, I can dance, but you can't break dance, can you? Can you break dance? And back then, getting a job as a break dancer was not going to happen if you weren't doing like ballet or jazz or interpretive dance. Even nobody cared about breaking. Nobody cared. But it is also funny. I see, or I noticed that the descendant is the angle that starts the seventh house. The seventh house is how we relate, right? How we our relationships with other people. And so breakdancing, what? You gotta roll with a crew. Okay? You got dang. How come I can't even think of no breaking crews right now? Like, this is crazy. Rocksteady crew. Oh my gosh. Sorry. My bad. Okay. That's just one example. I ain't trying to wreck my brain right now. Okay. But everybody's a crew. Cruise was large. Okay, well, I mean, you can have a few people, but the more the merrier, essentially. Okay. And so next we're gonna go into the air element. And I went back and forth. I was like, is this emceeing? Is this graffiti? It felt a little interchangeable. Okay. But air, obviously, we're just gonna go with the element of the MC. Okay. And we are gonna liken that to the Imam Coeli. Okay. That is the start of the fourth house, which here in this chart is in Gemini, right? And the air element is all about the mental experience of the world, our thoughts and our own personal perception. And that is essentially what the MC is communicating. This is what I'm thinking of a master plan. Okay, these are our thoughts. This is how I'm perceiving the world, and I'm going to communicate that to you through this microphone. Okay, that words, you can't see words unless you write them down. So the MC is rocking the crowd, right? Master of ceremonies, rocking the crowd, giving you their own perception of what they have experienced the world to be. Okay, boom, fire, DJ, obviously. Okay, and that is the midheaven. Okay, this midheaven, it just happens to be in a fire sign. And yes, all four angles do represent each element. Okay, we'll get into that at the end. So the DJ is the midheaven, right? This is how we actively express ourselves. And what's the difference between actively expressing yourself physically or actively expressing yourself in another way? So actively expressing yourself, the DJs don't talk. I mean, obviously they can, but they didn't always do that. They spoke with their hands. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how they express themselves, through the mixing. Okay, if you can't scratch, I don't know, I come from the real. You know what I'm saying? That's my generation. If you can't scratch or cut up a record, if you can express yourself in that way, like, that's why DJ Premier, his scratches, okay, are his signature. Like, people know it's a Premier cut or song production based on the scratches. People request, hey, DJ Premier, can I get some scratches on this record that was produced by somebody else? I just want you to scratch on it. Okay, that is how the DJ expressed themselves. So now we're going to go on to the water element. Now, I decided to make graffiti the water element and not the MC, because it's spray cans, aerosol is little droplets of water. Okay, you got to use logic. Okay, some people like to make astrology all woo woo. It's not that. It's very practical when you are realistic, okay, and grounded in your perception, or your interpretation rather. So graffiti, boom, we're going to give it to the rising sign, which is in Pisces. The water element is how we experience the world through our own feelings and emotions. That in turn informs your perception and your mental experiences. Okay, I just wanted to make that differentiation. Okay, so how you experience the world through feeling and emotion, right? Graffiti writers, they got a sense of confidence and pride when they saw their names on those trains, when they see their name on that building. You know what I'm saying? I feel good about myself. I did this. This makes me feel ... right? Leaving my signature. And it's an adrenaline rush when you are actually doing the tagging, because it's illegal. Okay, you're trespassing. Okay, so you got to be quick, you got to be fast, your adrenaline's pumping, you're going crazy trying to hurry up and write those letters. Okay, it doesn't matter if you're just throwing up your name, doing the tag real quick, if you're doing a whole full train. Okay, it doesn't matter. The rush that a graffiti artist gets never goes away. Okay, a real graffiti artist, even to this day, might have a little pen. They might go to a little lamp pole as they walking by to see the stoplight. Just do something real quick. Next time you at the stoplight and you are next to the median, Just look at the pole itself. You will see, yeah, a lot of posters, post no bills, XYZ, but I guarantee there's going to be some graffiti up there. Okay? So now let's get a little deeper. Intuition, okay, is the fire element, okay? That is the spirit, okay? That's what stirs you up, right? DJ, they don't talk, right? They're all about expressing themselves without speech. So, but with DJing, there are no boundaries, right? Fire has no boundaries. Your intuition has no boundaries, okay? But you also have to have faith in yourself and others, okay? I got faith. I know I can rock this party, right? Or I'm I'm a party promoter, or I'm trying to have a party. I'm gonna book this DJ because I know, okay, he gonna rock the crowd. I know he know how to mix. It's some DJs that you know that without a doubt, if you booked them, you probably wouldn't even have to like have a sit down and tell them what to play. Just show up and play the music, and I know for a fact, okay, the party is gonna be popping. All right, then you got Earth. Sensation, breaking. There are limitations when you are breakdancing. Okay, you can't go outside of your physical body. Okay, it's all about what's happening with your body. Okay, your physical, this avatar, which also I'm calling meat suit or whatever. Okay, your body has physical limitations. That is where your spirit resides. Yeah, all right. I know when I cut you open, you're not gonna see no spirit. That's not what I'm saying. But if you know what I'm saying, then nothing else needs to be said, right? Okay. Your body is a physical limitation of your soul, of your spirit, of your fire. Okay. So essentially, your spirit is trapped. It has a desire to be born, to be birthed. Okay. And so that's what breaking is. You lose kind of, I don't want to say control, but there is a more of a flow state when someone is breakdancing. Okay. And when you get on that floor, okay, you can, in some instances, you might be reborn. Okay. Thinking obviously is air, right? Thinking is air, MC. Okay. It is about detaching for perspective, right? You have to realize, hey, my own experiences are my own experiences. Let me step back, look at the broader picture so I can gain perspective. Okay, it's about being open minded, right? You learn and you communicate. And that is what also allows you to detach from your own limited perspective. Because guess what? Your perspective is only based on what you have physically experienced. Each element builds on the next one. Okay? That's just how it is. It's life. And then, of course, we got feeling, which is water. Okay? So, graffiti, right? Most sensitive. The urge to love, to be loved. That's why people do graffiti. Okay? I want to be recognized. I want to be loved. I want to be a legend. So I'm going to put my name on the most wildest, difficult space that I can find. I have driven down the interstate. It's not a regular thing in my city, but if you live in a bigger, like a metropolitan area, you've probably seen this. But signs on the highway have graffiti. When you ask yourself, how did they get up there? How did they do that? That's what it's about. That is what it's about. And people will love, okay, that you did that. Okay, it will be remembered in time. You will be revered. Now, mind you, people outside of the graffiti scene don't necessarily really know who's doing what. Okay, but the people that's in the scene, oh, they know each tag. They're like, dang, did you see that tag that XYZ did? That might even be somebody's name, right? Did you see the tag that XYZ did? Banksy. Oh my gosh, Banksy. Banksy is a great example. I mean, obviously, John Basquiat, Jean-Michel Basquiat, my bad. And then 5 Freddy. Cornbread was the OG. Okay, he was the very first graffiti artist out in Philly. Okay, and we remember them forever. Okay, but graffiti artists are very sensitive. Okay, everybody that's participating in hip hop is sensitive in some way. Okay, we all have that sweet spot. I mean, we human, right? All right, so let's go to the modes. So I am going to zoom in here on this little box, this little key you can see. Okay, going down the side is fire, earth, air, water, right? That's why you got red, green, I guess yellow / orange or gold, and then blue. But across the top, cardinal, fixed, mutable. Okay, it's a lot of fire. Okay, in each mode. Cardinal energy is about energy that moves from the center outward. So think of a raindrop in a pool. Boom, one drop, and then the waves, right? That is cardinal energy. Fixed is very magnetic. It invites you in, drawing you to the center. So just think like being drawn, a moth being drawn to the flame, right? This is the center. I'm bringing it in for fixed. Cardinal, I'm bringing it out. That's all it is. It's all linear, okay? Cardinal and fixed energy is linear, meaning one direction. It's not being dispersed all over, right? So that's where mutable comes in. Energy is dispersed outward in multiple directions at once. So I guess maybe the raindrop example was probably better suitable for mutable. No pun intended. Okay. So cardinal, just think, yeah, just like I did with my hand. Boom. From the center outward, one direction. Cardinal, outward to the center, one direction. Mutable, boom. Got it? Got it. Okay. So now let's get into these placements. Okay, so when I was doing my prep, doing my notes or whatever for this episode, I did what I felt like were the easy placements first, and then I doubled back for the ones that I was initially giving me grief. Okay, so we're gonna start with Mars and Aries, and then once we get to the moon, okay, we're gonna double back to Venus, and then I forgot I had skipped over Saturn. So, but you know, you'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Okay, so boom. Mars, Aries, first house. Mars, Aries, first house. Now, you do have two signs, Pisces and Aries, in the first house, right? But Aries takes up a majority of the first house. So, you know, Mars is at home in its sign. Yeah, Mars is at home in Aries and at home in the first house. Okay, not all of the placements are like that. Okay, so this really needed some spark, some initiation, somewhere to start, a beginning, fresh. Okay, fresh to death. Fresh is literally like some hip hop slang. If you my age, you know what I'm saying, fresh to death like $1,000,000. Yeah, that was deaf, that was fresh. Okay, fresh is an Aryan, okay, word. So boom. Mars, Aries, first house. This involves physical movement of hands on, like I said, a turntable. Music knows no boundaries. It transcends, okay, which is the Pisces part of the first house, okay? Transcendence, no boundaries, okay? That's all Pisces right there. DJ Kool Herc is credited with the first hip hop party, right? That is the birth, okay, place, okay, of hip hop. Cedric Ave, 1520, right? He is also noted to be a pioneer, okay? Another Aries word, exploration, adventure, pioneer, okay? Most people, when they think of Aries, all they think is fight, warrior, all that violent stuff. But, it's a whole nother, that's not all Aries and Mars is about. So he was a pioneer. There's also, you got pioneer turntables, okay? Okay. And, DJ battles. I love a good DJ battle, okay? Mars Aries, fight, war, battle, right? Okay, okay. And so, mind you, this is just a singular interpretation of the energy, okay? We're not really going to get into all of the aspects, and that's okay. That's okay. I'm trying to save everybody some time, okay? Including myself. So, next, we're going to go on to Mercury in Leo in the 5th house, barely making it in Leo. Mercury is 0 degrees in 39 minutes, okay? And that's what the numbers mean, right? 0 degrees, that's the first number. Then it says Leo. The 39 is the minutes, the 13 is like the seconds. All right, it's the time. Okay, you got it? You with me? Cool. Okay, so Mercury barely made it into Leo. Thank goodness, because we don't know what hip hop would be if it was in Cancer. I can tell you that right now. Okay, so Mercury, we know, is all about speech, language, rhymes, to draw people in, right? That is what we talked about. What draws people in? A fixed sign. And where's Mercury? In a fixed fire sign. Okay, Mercury is in this chart in a fixed fire sign. Okay, and that's when you go back to the little chart with the color codes. Okay, yeah. Mercury, Leo, 5th house, drawing people in with their rhymes, with their speech, with their language, how they communicate. That's how people become fans, and that's where the Leo comes in. That is where the 5th house comes in. Because Leo's sun archetype is all about the performance, okay? Fans, okay? Supporters, spectators, okay? The rhymes have to be mentally stimulating. Mercury, mentally stimulating. I want knowledge. I want information. Do you get what I am saying? And also, with Mercury being opposite Jupiter, Jupiter is also about knowledge. Okay? Jupiter is more knowledge, but Mercury is just information. Think of it like that. Okay? Jupiter is the philosophy. Mercury is just like basic learning, stuff that you learn in elementary school, right? So learn from these rhymes, these verses. Okay, when I listen to a rapper, I want to learn something. Okay, teach me something that I can use in my real life. Okay, give me a new perspective that I can use in my own life, right? These rhymes, they get artists or rappers gain attention. All of this is the 5th house Leo stuff, association. You gain attention, approval, and admiration. That's all Leo sun archetype wants. Love me, yes, give me all the attention, please. I'm a Leo rising, so I know. Okay. It's also about being a creative performer. Okay. An artiste with an audience. Okay. And it's entertainment. Literally, it's entertainment. Okay. All right. Let's go on next to the sun at home in Leo, but in the 6th house. Okay. So now that you are a star, okay, because of, the whole, it's still Sun Leo. Still Sun Leo. So now that you are a star, you have all of this attention, approval, all the admiration, right? You're an entertainer. You got an audience. Okay, so now that you're a star, okay, this is all about the day-to-day responsibilities of being an artist, of being a star. Okay? It's not all entertainment, it's still a job. Sixth house is associated with Virgo, right? That is about employment. I mentioned that earlier. I think I did, but yeah. Virgo sixth house is about employment, right? You're young in your early 20s. You're just entering the workforce. So you're just kind of figuring it out, right? So day-to-day responsibilities. You have employees that you have to pay. People are on your payroll. Okay? You have to work. You have to perform in order to make those things happen. Okay? To keep people employed. Okay? You might sell merch. Okay? And now that you're famous, and we ain't say you had money. We ain't talking the money part yet. I'm gonna get to that. That's a good one. Okay? But now that you are somebody of importance, I will say, you might change up your diet, okay? Because you're more active. You got to be here, you got to be there, sleep, you still got to make sure you're healthy, okay? And that's sixth house Virgo stuff, okay? Being healthy, taking care of your body, okay? Your physical health overall, right? So your job is to be magnetic, fixed, right? Invite people in. Where is the sun? Right there in that fixed fire sign, right next to Mercury, right? You have to be magnetic. You have to be likable. You have to be attractive. All of that is Sun Leo, okay? Sometimes people overdo it. You become a party animal. I'm telling you right now, right? You become too trusting, naive, right? You also become susceptible to flattery. Oh, that was great. That's where yes men come in. Yes men and women. They ain't telling you the truth. And you so now that you a star, you're like, oh yes, I know, even though your shit do really stink. Okay? Yes. Artists become susceptible to flattery all the time. Every day, especially the ones with the big ego. Sun Leo. I mean, the ego just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, right? That's what happens. It has to be fed, right? And people do that because they want to keep their job. Okay? They want to try to get on the payroll. I'm just saying. And I know it's crazy, but we're going to jump from the sun in Leo in the sixth house, and we're going to go into Neptune in Sagittarius in the ninth house. Okay? Now, this is right before the midheaven. The midheaven is where you have reached the pinnacle. This is where you're most successful. You have mastered whatever it is you've been doing career-wise. You know what I'm saying? You have created this structure. You've created boundaries. Okay? So now, right before that, we get Neptune Sagittarius. Right before the boundaries kick in, we're boundaryless. No bounds. Okay? Ain't no bounds. Ain't no limitations. We out here. So clearly, we just out here. Well, not we, but I'm just saying artists, rappers, whatever. I'm just out here doing whatever. I'm just out here, right? Artists tend to overextend themselves or become wasteful. This is all Sagittarius. Ninth house. Sagittarius rules the ninth house, just so y'all know. Okay? So, artists tend to overextend themselves. They become wasteful, possibly excessive. Regardless, I mean, it might be King's disease. They could be having a lot of intimate relationships. They might have a lot of kids. Might be a lot of money. We don't know too. Okay, but everything is just excessive. Jupiter, big, big, big. Sagittarius, huge, broad, right? So very undisciplined with the money. That's Neptune. No discipline, none. Well, that's kind of both. Okay? It's kind of a little bit of both there. But they're undisciplined with the money because the rap king becomes glamorized. Okay? So the undiscipline is the Sag, ninth house, but the glamorization is Neptune. I was about to say Pisces. It's Neptune, right? Because Neptune is this fantasy. It's this dream come true. Oh my gosh. Everything is so great. I got it made and I'll be rich forever. But you might be a one-hit wonder. So what you gonna do when things die down? Or when the game change? Like when, people were making money off CDs and then boom, download, Napster and MP3s and all of that came out. People had to shift. Okay, they wasn't making money like they were making. And now they make it even less. Now the people streaming music. So now what do? Do you just go broke? I don't know. I'm just asking. Okay. And so this is when you might fall victim to bad contracts. Okay. Legal issues, end up helpless, end up self-destructing, lost your moral compass because you don't have any type of advisor, a teacher, a mentor. Okay. And so uh Jupiter, Sagittarius, ninth house archetype is where um, the courts come in, right? Because Sagittarius is all about justice, right? Like legal justice, okay? So it's also about the morals and values that someone has. So when you lose those, that's when the self-destructing comes in. That's when the self-sabotage, that's Neptune, the self-destruction, messing your own stuff up. Maybe you do drugs. Neptune, Pisces archetype. And okay, so let me explain the drugs for Neptune, Pisces. Neptune, Pisces is about confusion, illusion, delusion, and nothing does that better than drugs and alcohol, all substances. Okay? So there you go. Okay? And so because you're doing all these drugs and blah, 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 you lose your moral compass. And the people that were with you in the beginning, they leave because the drugs is getting too much and they sick of your mess. Your ego has gotten too big. Okay? So boom. Let's go to the moon in Capricorn in the 11th house, right? This, I think, in the last episode, I talked about how it kind of represented backpack rap. And so now, this is also where you start to see the emergence of conscious rap, conscious hip hop, right? It started off conscious, but then it evolved into backpack. I'll just say it like that, right? So, this is when an artist starts to feel responsible for their mostly mother. All the rappers talk about their moms. Ain't don't nobody really talk about their pops or whatever. All the pop. Every rapper got a deadbeat dad, but the mama was the one holding them down. But whatever, allegedly. So they start to feel responsible for their mom, for their home, essentially their family. Okay, um, so they become part of some type of progressive movement. Okay, because they have unconditional love for their people, for their culture, Black America. Okay, it's important to me. I've gained all of this money and this new perception and these new experiences and everything that I have seen and felt. Now I need to pivot and do this because that was self destructive. Let me get myself together. Okay, so this is where you reflect, moon, on your success. Capricorn. Okay? You're reflecting on your success and then you realize that your understanding, moon, is limited. Capricorn. Okay? Is limited through your experiences. Basically, now that I am rich and famous, I have lost the perspective of like the everyday, regular, average person, right? I don't know how much groceries cost. I don't know how much a cell phone bill is. The cost of a car, like gas. I have like I'm out of touch, essentially, right? No longer relatable. No longer relatable. And let's see. That would be. I'm just trying to see. Oh, okay. But hold on. Moon. Yeah, Moon is trine Venus. No longer relatable. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What else? Who else? That would be Taurus, which has nobody in the second house, but also Libra 7th. And that's a big first and seventh house. And that's why the 10th and 11th is so small. Let me see something real quick. The first house, Mars. It say 20. Oh, okay. It's still, it's huge. It's huge. But that's another chart. I ain't doing that right now. Okay, so you live in a bubble. You're living in a bubble. The bubble is Capricorn. It's the limits, it's the boundaries. Yes, you could pop it, but most artists, they don't want to pop it. I like living in my bubble. I don't want to be the average person. I don't want to know how much groceries cost. I don't want to pump my own gas. Okay? I want all my bills to be on auto pay. We ain't even got Apple subscriptions on auto pay as regular people. Okay? And it might only be $1.99, but it doesn't matter. That's not the point. Okay? So, you're living in a bubble. And so in order to overcompensate Capricorn, you got to respond to world events in your rhymes, right? You might be rich, famous, out of touch, but hey, I do see what's going on down there. I do see what's happening to my people, so I'm going to rap about it. I'm going to let the people know that I am down. This is how I'm going to speak out, right? So you respond to world events, okay, via your rhymes. The world events is 11th house, okay? That's the Aquarius Uranus archetype, okay? So in your rhymes, you're responding, okay? This moon allows you to be more vulnerable. You become more forward thinking, okay? Then there's 11th house coming back in. Original, innovative, cutting edge, okay? This is what conscious rap was back then. Like, to be forward thinking, to have original thoughts and not be repeating the same stuff that somebody else is saying, not even having the same sound. Okay? It's about being innovative. Okay? And we're going to get into rappers having to reinvent themselves. Okay? But you got to be on the cutting edge of what's going on. Okay? Marvin, what's going on? You got to know. You got to know what you're talking about. You can't just be out here, okay, saying anything, because your voice has power at this point, right? So the things you say, some people might find it controversial, but that's okay as long as you stand on your square and how you feel, right? And by doing that, you separate yourself, 11th house, from the rest of the rappers that are doing the same old thing, because you're being original, you're being innovative. That separates you. Okay, that separates the rappers from the MCs. That separates the one-hit wonders from the legends. Okay, being innovative, having original thoughts, being forward thinking, standing up for your people. Okay, all right. So now, this, after I said after the moon, we're going to double back, right? So boom. And we ain't double back far enough, but we're going to get to Saturn. But we're going to go to Venus. Venus at home in the 7th house in Virgo. In Virgo. Okay? So this is where we're going to have the safe sex talk of the 90s. Okay? Everybody was OPP and what's the TLC song? I ain't too proud to beg, you know what I'm saying? Giving him something he could feel, you know what I'm saying? What a man. You know, everybody was talking about having safe sex. It was cool. Everybody was grown. I wasn't grown then, but that's what the messages were. You know, protect yourself, protect your neck. Okay? So Virgo is the Virgo 6th house of Mercury archetype. That age range, specifically Virgo, I guess, that age range, like I said, you just graduated from college, right? So from 19 to 26 years old, this is when you're a young adult. You out here having these intimate relationships, right? And, you know, coming off of the sexual liberation movement, okay, it's progressive. And why am I saying progressive? Because where is it? Venus is semi-sextile Uranus. Okay? So being sexually liberated is seen as being progressive. Okay, we're not shaming anybody. Okay, there's sexual freedom. Okay, uh, the Uranus is the freedom part. Okay, social norms. That is what Venus and Virgo was all about. Social norms. This is becoming the norm. Sexual liberation, sexual freedom is becoming the norm. It's okay for a woman to have a condom in her purse. That's okay. Like now, y'all like, what do you mean? Like, yes, back then, a woman having a condom was like, girl, you. Oh man, wrong person to quote at this point. But yes, that was controversial. Okay, and I mean now, women can have Plan B, and ain't nobody blinking their eye. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, Virgo is also about being healthy, being clean, hygiene, safe sex, safe, heavy on the safety from Virgo. Heavy, heavy, heavy. Okay? All right. So now we're going to go to Saturn in Cancer in the fourth house. Okay? Saturn is barely making it 1 degree. 1 degree in Cancer. Still fourth house, ruled by Cancer. Okay? Let's see. This is about controlling your emotions. Okay? Controlling your emotions. Rappers, especially men, it's a male dominated field, they're not allowed to be sensitive, tender, soft, gentle. Man, if somebody called you soft, that was a disrespectful. This is short for disrespectful. Okay, in case I got some younger people that's like, what are you talking about? Okay. Yes. If somebody called you soft, that was nah, you done. You're done. If anybody felt any type of sensitivity around you, oh no, you done. You're labeled. You're canceled. Okay, your career's over. So that's also, well, not this, but two different ways to interpret this. Also, Saturn suppresses, and so Cancer suppresses. My bad. Cancer, moon, fourth house archetype is the suppressor. Okay? So you have to suppress your feelings about your partner. Essentially, like a lot of rappers back in the day, they had to conceal their marriages or their relationships, even their divorces. Like, in order to be popular, like male rappers had to be like wanted physically, intimately by their audience. So finding out such and such was married, oh my gosh, I don't like them no more because they married. I can't have them. They're not attainable, therefore no longer relatable. So now we gotta hide. Okay, hide your wives, hide your kids, hide your kids, hide your wives, whatever, however it goes, right? So this is how you preserve your relationships, right? By keeping them secret, not putting all your business out there, right? But you also got to be thick-skinned, Saturn. Okay? You got to be able to take, criticism, backlash, what have you, because people going to talk trash about you, right? We already talked about conscious rap being controversial. Can you handle those responses? People can't even handle the comments these days. People can't handle comments. So you got to be thick-skinned, okay, to be in this business. Okay? So I said was going to touch on contracts, right? This was my favorite part when this little piece was revealed, or when I realized, this interpretation. Pluto, we're going to Pluto in Libra in the 7th house. Libra is at home to the 7th house. Pluto ain't at home though. This is where business relationships come in. Contracts, usually bad. We know them as what? The 360 deal. Okay? So this is all about manipulation. This is all Pluto, by the way. This is heavy Pluto. Manipulation, coercion, corruption, oppression. Okay? But you're enticed by the fantasy due to Pluto being sextile Neptune. You're being enticed by the fantasy. Okay, so you are eager to sign a deal. You're gonna sign it, whatever, because you're just trying to get out the hood, right? just so the label can control, degrade, undermine, and destroy you. All of that is Pluto, baby. Okay? It's all a scheme. That's right. Set up by who? That's right. Okay? For power. It's all about power. That's all it is. Even in death, a lot of rappers pass away and the label still has their masters, their publishing, everything. They're still making money off of them. They don't have a say in their likeness, their image, or when and where their music is used. Okay? So that is why people oftentimes ask to be literally Pluto in Libra released from their contract. That's right. That's right. Yeah. That's what they say. Oh, XYZ, they with this label now. Contract is over. This is not like NBA, NFL. Can't buy a contract. I mean, maybe you can. I don't know. But essentially, they got to let you go. And sometimes record labels will hold you hostage, hold rappers hostage. Because, oh, you owe us another album and da 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 da. I don't owe you. I put out the album. No, that was a mixtape. That don't count. It used to be crazy. It used to be crazy to say what counted as an album. Now it's like, oh, you got to have at least this number of songs, and oh, this number of songs got to be this how many minutes long. Like, it's all kinds of fine print in there. Okay? So now we are just going to bump up to Uranus in Libra. Okay, 7th house. We're still in the 7th house, right? And so following Pluto in Libra 7th house, we just talked about being released from the contract, right? This is when Uranus, rappers separate, they distance, they break up, they break away from the label, right? Okay. Now they have radical insight based off of what they went through with their contract issues, right? So now they move from a more holistic perspective. They look at the bigger picture. Uranus, okay? I've had this experience. I know how this feels. I know, like now I know what I'm doing on the contract side of things. Okay, your relationships have changed because when you leave a label, you leave the A&R, you leave the marketing and promotion department, like all of those people. Even though you liked working with those different departments, the label head itself, the executives, might have been the ones causing the problems. So now you got to rebuild your team, rebuild new, fresh relationships. Okay, so you have to progress. This is now, because a lot of times when rappers would leave a label, it's all about, oh man, they're not with such and such now. Now, I would love to see how they're going to move, at this label or independently. You got to be independent label sometimes. Okay. Uranus, independent. Okay. And so now you have to progress. Rappers have to progress. They have to reinvent themselves. I told y'all we was going to get to the reinvention, right? You got to be innovative with your sound. You got to do something different. You still got to be who you are at the core, okay? You still want to be able to connect with your audience, right? Uranus and Pluto, cardinal air, okay? The energy is moving out from the center. Okay, you have to be able, okay, to branch out. Okay, so in order to do that, you got to tap into the Libra 7th house. You have to be appealing. You have to be interesting. You have to be attractive. I told you. An ugly rapper better be melting those microphones, okay? Because a cute rapper can get away with whatever. But an ugly one, he better be the best. He better be a go. Okay? So what you say, your rhymes have to be appealing. They have to be interesting. Oh, did you hear what XYZ said on blah, 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 blah? You know what I'm saying? Go back and listen to it. It was great. Oh, my God. Okay? And so lastly, we're going to end with Jupiter and Aquarius in the 11th house. Now, Aquarius is at home because it rules the 11th house. but Jupiter is not. Jupiter is not. The Sagittarius age range is 45 to 56 years old based on the developmental age model of astrology. That's what I use. Okay, I practice psychological astrology. Okay, and so this right now to me, Jupiter in Aquarius 11th house represents the current state of hip hop. Okay, rappers used to be retired at 45. Like there was no career at 40. It wasn't even a career in your 30s. It was definitely in your 20s. It was a young man's game, right? But not anymore. Not anymore. Okay? Now that rappers are 45 and up, okay? There's less controversy surrounding them. Controversy is Aquarius, okay? They not with all that mess that they was when they was in their 20s because they grown now. They got families, they got kids. They probably been divorced, might maybe even be remarried. I don't know, okay? But now they kind of have the freedom, Aquarius, that they didn't have before in their music, okay? They can experiment with sounds, okay? But you have to be forward thinking. Again, your rhymes might have to be avant-garde. You just cannot conform. Like rappers just jumping on the trap drill, like that's whack. Like just do what you do. That's why we like you, because you do the quote unquote boom bap. You do the contemporary hip hop. That's what we like from you as an artist. Don't try to do what these kids is doing. We want you to have some substance. Okay? So when artists don't, it looks, when they don't conform, okay, it looks brilliant. It looks revolutionary. Like everything the Clips is doing. We loved it, right? We love the Ghostface and Raekwon. We love everything Nas is doing over at Mass Appeal, okay? Because in these muddy waters, okay, of rap music, not hip hop culture, it looks brilliant. It looks like they are revolutionaries. Okay, Aquarius, brilliant and revolutionary, right? The rhymes might be more revealing, okay, because the rappers have more wisdom. They've progressed. Their morals and values are strong and intact. They can't be wavered. They're grown men. If you are easily influenced at 45 and up, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. You need a therapist. Okay? You might even be more religious. Okay? You might be a little bit more in touch with, your higher power. And ain't nothing wrong with that. That's what we love. We want to hear that in the rhymes. Actually, look at Malice. He will put, okay, a Bible verse. And guess what y'all gonna do? Run up and look at that verse so you can break down the meaning and bring it into how it corresponds to the verse, to the whole song, to the whole album. Right? That's right. Okay. Rappers at this age are more now that they are well traveled. A lot of them are grandparents. Snoop, Big Boy from Outkast, they got grandkids. You know what I'm saying? Like we're not rapping because we have to. We're rapping because we want to, because we love it. Okay? That's what retirement is all about. Okay? Disseminating knowledge by teaching. That's all Jupiter right there. Literally, rappers that are rapping, rappers over 45 are seen as gurus. Literally, guru, the MC. Gifted, universal, rhymes unlimited. RIP to Boston's finest. Okay, we already talked about Premier. I love Gangstar. Moving on before I go crazy. Okay, because of the sextile to Neptune, okay, big dreams, big dreams, okay, came true. Actually came true. Okay, and because of the trine to Neptune, their big dreams coming true have literally transformed Pluto, them and their family's life, the trajectory. They could still be in the hood. They might be dead or in jail. Who knows? On drugs, them and their family. Who knows? Right? But because they were able to manifest, they worked hard, did what they were supposed to do, they changed their bloodline forever. Right? Mama was able to retire. She didn't have to keep working. Her house paid for. All she got to do was enjoy her grandkids. You know what I'm saying? I'm an MC. I'm rocking the mic, doing something that not everybody can do. Even if you do got the skills, the likelihood of somebody becoming a famous rapper is small. Okay? Even though now you got artists that are able to maneuver independently, book their own shows, tours, and, promote themselves, that is still not the same as, being a marquee artist on a boutique label. Now is what they call it, right? They have literally changed their family's life and the trajectory of the generations that come after them. Okay? So, sheesh. And where is Jupiter? Where is Jupiter? In a fixed air sign. Let's see. Fixed means what? Inviting you in, drawing you into the center through your mental experiences as an MC. Okay? Okay? Y'all see what I'm saying? Y'all see what I'm saying? Even Saturn, okay, is in a cardinal water sign. Okay? Cardinal energy moves out from center. Why? Because Saturn has boundaries and limits. Saturn is not going anywhere. Okay? This is the status quo. This is the structure that I have created. So I'm just going to allow, things to trickle outward. And I'm just going to stand where I am. I'm not going to move. And we didn't touch on any mutable. Let's see. Let's do Venus. Venus is in a mutable earth sign. Mutable is what? Disperse outward. That's the raindrop in the pool analogy. But it's about a physical experience. Okay? And so, physical experience, safe sex. Boom. Okay? Drop of water, it radiates. The waves go out. Okay? So, I hope you all enjoyed this episode. It is right under 1 hour. I am so proud of myself. I hope you all enjoyed watching as much as I enjoyed breaking it down. Okay, so after this, we're going to talk about, what are we going to talk about? Not on this particular episode, but on the next video of mine, you'll see we will be talking about the new moon conjunct Mars and Venus. And then I got some good stuff coming up with that Neptune Saturn conjunction. I can't wait for that. That's gonna be good. That's gonna be so good. Okay. But all right, y'all. Hope you enjoyed yourself. See you next time. Peace.